the news. Get the finer points of the matter. Watch Dateline 5 p.m. on weekdays on DD India.
You've got the award in the category of community welfare. Tell us about your related activities in a little more detail.
My project is a team-oriented. We are working together with the local communities and the students and different stakeholders. We organize the local communities at the grassroots level, and we are doing a certain infrastructure in the rural area, mostly in the rural areas. It includes construction of bridges, developing water spring. Now we are doing the check dams as well as electrification of villages. Also we have built one toilet in schools. So our project is a multi-dimensional project. We work in different areas.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD India.
Hello and welcome. It is 7:30 in the evening in India and we are back again with our spotlight on G20. On the show today, we take a deeper look at how G20 countries can collaborate with each other to help address the challenge of world hunger, which has been rising since 2018, help particularly the smallholder farmers grow climate-resilient crops, equip them digitally through, say, the India Stack across G20 countries, which includes innovations like UPI, COBIN, etc., and also expand research on nutritious millets. Also, we tell you the highlights of the 3-day G20 Digital Economy Working Group meeting in Lucknow. I'm Munun Bhattacharya. First up, the top stories. The 3-day G20 Agriculture Deputies meeting concludes in Indore. Deliberations on the final day focus on food security and nutrition. Delegates discuss the need to enhance availability, accessibility, utilization and stability of food systems. Union Agriculture Secretary Manoj Ahuja emphasizes on the need to have greater convergence and collaboration among G20 member countries on agricultural research and development aspects. Says India will carry forward the discussions on G20 agricultural issues in the upcoming meetings of the Agriculture Working Group. First G20 Digital Economy Working Group meeting concludes in Lucknow. Its chair, Alkesh Kumar Sharma, says implementation of digital public infrastructure in India over the last 7 years was appreciated by G20 delegates as incredible for digital governance and transformation, and best practices related to cybersecurity and expanding cooperation in digital skilling were discussed. The first meeting of the G20 Agriculture Working Group concluded in Indore today. On the final day, 4 topics of current and future relevance were discussed. They are food security and nutrition, climate-based approach for sustainable agriculture, value chain and food system for inclusive agriculture, and digitization for agricultural transformation. DD India correspondent Aditya Srivastav reports from Indore on the takeaways from the 3-day meeting.
The first meeting of the G20 Agriculture Working Group, which began on 13th February, concluded on its 3rd day on Wednesday. Challenges and opportunities facing the agriculture sector globally were discussed over 3 days. On the final day, there were discussions on 4 themes: food security and nutrition, climate-based approaches for sustainable agriculture, value chains and food systems for inclusive agriculture, and digitization for agricultural transformation.
The 4 main themes which we want to emphasize on: one was food security and nutrition. It has been seen that the SDG goal of zero hunger is not going as planned, and there has been an increase in world hunger from 2018. So it's very necessary to talk about it, the interventions we can have around it to bring it down. And we also proposed an initiative on millets, since this is the International Year of Millets, and it is a future ready crop. You know, it's a very apt crop. It is good for your health, good for the climate, and also good for the farmer. We talked about value chains as to how the emphasis should push or shift from only production to the entire value chain, and how small farmers are linked to value chains and they get their benefits from there. The third aspect was on climate smart agriculture. We again know that the impact of climate change is being borne by the entire community and also farmers, and there are projections as to how climate can affect farming. So it's very necessary to plan so that the interests of our farmers and others are safeguarded. And the fourth is digital agriculture, where it's a cross-cutting theme, and we did tell them about India's experience with public digital agriculture and the agri-stack which we are building.
The issue of climate finance was also discussed with the aim of helping farmers adopt adaptation measures and incentivize them to use climate-friendly practices for farming.
This issue came up. Climate finance was one of the issues which we had discussed, and the members felt that there was a need for having a conducive environment for increasing climate financing, both in terms of financing to farmers for adaptation measures, and second is if farmers are working in a manner which is climate friendly or doing green agriculture, can we incentivize them? One of the ways of doing it is carbon credits. So that was discussed, and countries shared their experience. Some of the countries are investing very strongly, they have budget provisions for this. That was discussed.
Delegates of G20 countries who participated in the meeting shared their views on the relevance of issues discussed at the meeting for the developed and developing world.
There's a real opportunity to identify some of the areas where the G20 can add value, bringing countries, the largest economies of the world together, and really be very precise about how we can monitor food insecurity, bring that information together for joint action, and really develop those coordinated plans that can bring greater food security to people around the world.
The real challenge ahead is to create a consensus in the meeting on taking the millet initiative forward and mainstreaming it into our entire food value chain systems across the world. And naturally, this will require various levels of calibration and inputting of research also. But the challenge really is to keep the momentum going in the next several years. But this meeting has made a very good beginning on that.
Over 3 days, in view of 2023 being celebrated as the International Year of Millets and the nutritious value of millets, millet-based delicacies were served to G20 delegates. Guests also got glimpses of the glorious culture and history of Indore when they visited Rajwada Palace and Gopal Mandir during a heritage walk on the first day, and Mandu Fort, India's biggest fort, on the second day. The meeting was attended by delegates not only from the G20 countries but also invited countries and national and international organizations associated with the agriculture sector.
The first Agriculture Working Group meeting has set the tone for the future meeting. Leading to a ministerial declaration, the effort is to promote the climate smart and sustainable agriculture and further integrated technology in agriculture to help the cultivator, consumer and climate. With Person Pradyumn Dubey, Aditya Srivastav, DD India, Indore.
G20 delegates shared their insights on the progress made over 3 days at the first meeting of the G20 Agriculture Working Group in Indore. Listening.
This is still a preparatory meeting for first a follow-up meeting we'll have with the deputies of agricultural ministries, and then there will be a ministerial meeting later this year in June. So that's where the real decision is being taken. But we made quite a bit of good progress. There seems to be quite a bit of consensus around a broad agenda to support food security, but particularly through making agriculture and food systems more sustainable.
We have a very good opportunity to share our experiences and knowledge. All the countries can find a platform to express their feelings about our future, that we are focusing on the food security issues. This is a difficult issue to overcome. For the next few years, the population of the world becomes more than 10 billion. So we have to collaborate our powers and do our best for our next generations.
The G20 members have put their views on the table, have shared their views on the issue note that was prepared by the Indian government, and this is the beginning of the conversation. We have a few more meetings of the working group until we get to the ministerial, and by then we will keep aligning our positions so that we come to a strong communique in June by the time of the ministerial conference.
Some important discussions on many important topics, including sustainable farming practices, digital agriculture, precision agriculture, and also how to ensure inclusive financial inclusion of the farmers. So this kind of discussions took place today. So I think in the next round, there will be more clarity.
We are facing a lot of challenges related to recovery of COVID, some disruption of trade and exchanging commodities and goods, but all these challenges have a solutions, and the only solution is to talk together, to collaborate and cooperate together, and this is what we are doing in the third day of the Deputy Agriculture Minister meeting here in Indore.
G20 working group meetings being held in India across sectors offered an opportunity to the hotel industry to come up with out-of-the-box yet healthy recipes for millet-based food items. This is in tune with 2023 being celebrated as the International Year of Millets. DD India correspondent Aditya Srivastav spoke to Indore's Hotel Sheraton General Manager Rohit Bajpai on what was served to the guests who attended the three-day G20 Agriculture Working Group meeting in Indore. Take a listen.
3 days first agriculture working group meeting is now over. Throughout the 3 days, lot of delicious dishes served to the G20 delegates in Indore. We are with Rohit Bajpai, GM of this hotel, sir. What are the things, what are the delicious dishes we served to the delegates?
When we got to know that the G20 delegation is happening with us, first of all, we were very happy. Then the challenge came in front of us because we have to do justice to the International Year of Millets 2023. So, of course, the chefs got onto the job, the think tank got onto the job. What can we do from which all part of the country, because we have diverse millet production across the country. And of course, when we zeroed down on many things, we ourselves were surprised that we can create so many things from millet, and millet is such an easy thing to work with. Because previously as hoteliers, we were always used to working with traditional things like refined flour, chickpea flour, gehu, bajra, ragi, all these things, kutki, were never part of our repertoire. But I think we have done a very good job, and the guests are really appreciating because they themselves are surprised as to how we can do bajre ka gulab jamun, how we can do a kheer made up of jowar. We did a jowar jalebi, we did a ragi dosa.
We saw a lot of the delegates talk to your chef and also want to know what are the recipes of some products.
Correct. We've done a very unique thing that every food item that we are serving, we have a QR code which are ready with our chefs, and anybody who wants to take a recipe, we give them a QR code and they can just scan it and store it in their phones. So it's a great remembrance for them. It's a great legacy that they carry from here. The food is not only digested in the stomach, stays in the mind. So that way, the curiosity is very, very high. And we are very happy, and this is what we wanted to create. Indori food always remains a favorite. Indore is a chatpata chatora shahar, and we've tried to do justice to that also. And I think both the chatorapan of Indore and the goodness of millets has made us successful in this event.
Indore is also a Chatpata Chatora Shahar, but we can say this kind of G20 working group meetings are also give a new experience to the hotel industry also. With camera person Pradyum Dubey, Aditya Srivastava, DD India, Indore.
And joining us for Perspective now is Dr. Ashok Vishandas. He is former chairman of Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices, or CSCP, and also Professor Economics with IIPA. CSCP, for the viewers I must tell, is mandated to recommend minimum support prices to incentivize cultivators to adopt modern technology and raise productivity and overall grain production in line with the emerging demand patterns in India. Such a pleasure to have you, Dr. Ashok, on India at G20.
Namaskar.
Let's begin with the issue of food security, a key imponderable during the 3-day meeting in Indore. We heard the Agriculture Secretary say that since 2018, world hunger is rising, and India during the COVID-19 period provided food security to 80 crore citizens. Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana is continuing. How can G20 countries collaborate on the issue of food security? Because there are several low and middle income countries also who are outside the ambit of G20, which India would like to help through its own model of food security and perhaps learn from other countries as well.
Thank you very much, and I must tell and give congratulations to India's G20 presidency, and we have shown in the past how Indian agriculture is resilient, and our farmers, about 13 crores, over 13 crores, have shown that during the very difficult and testing and challenging times of COVID, that was the only sector which registered a positive growth compared to negative growth in all other sectors, and that is point one. Now, India has also shown that Shri Anna, that means millet, has can withstand the climate change and water stress condition, and the cost of production is also very low, and it's not only nutritious but it has a medicinal value also. For instance, it is very beneficial for the people who have some orthopedic issue or some diabetic kind of thing, and it is getting a lot of popularity, not from the palate point of view but from medicinal point of view. So it is a win-win situation in the sense that cost of cultivation is low, it can withstand the difficult and stressful weather condition, and the duration of the crop is also lower, and it can be grown in very marginal land also. So the area coverage under this can be expanded. That is one. Water can be saved, and the farmers' welfare and their income can be increased, because many countries outside India do not know what are the millets. They are not grown. India is the leading producer of millet, and it has exported substantial amount both in quantity and value terms to the world, and it can further boost the export of this, not only after meeting the production and the demand of the country. Let me also add this: the food grain production in the country, which includes millet, was about 190 million tons during 2000, but is going to increase to 345 million tons by 2030. Now, where to grow? And we have to remember that agriculture, in the agriculture land, the cultivable land and natural resources are not going to expand, and that is inelastic in that sense, because we will not get. So what is the solution? Because land is not going to increase, obviously, and the natural resources cannot be exploited beyond a point, and therefore only solution is twofold: increase the productivity and reduce the wastage. And that is where the government is doing a lot, and we have to move away from the chemical fertilizer to natural farming, the organic farming, and that is also will give the productivity higher price, because the demand for organic product and chemical free fertilizer is increasing, and it will reduce the ill effect on the health. For instance, in Punjab, there are many cancer patients which many scientists ascribe or attribute this to reckless use of chemical fertilizer in Punjab. Water tables are going down. So water scarcity, to handle this, the more crop per drop of water. So this is the overall architecture of India's agriculture, and that is the way forward. So we have to be agriculture, sustainable agriculture with climate smart approach.
Yes, I was coming to that. Absolutely, I was coming to that. So there are insurance schemes in India for farmers to protect them from extreme weather events. Other countries would also be having the best practices. How can G20 countries collaborate, particularly to protect the small and marginal farmers who form the majority of farmers in a developing country like India?
Yes, see, this also requires a lot of thinking on farm that's mechanization. The farm mechanization we have to develop the machines and all those mechanical equipment which suits the small marginal farmer. For instance, India's average size of the land holding is 1.08 hectare, which has diminished over the years. I am talking of the latest agriculture census to 2015-16. So we have to tailor-make our farm mechanization, and the digitization is also answer, which is size neutral in the sense digitization does not depend how big or how small the land holding. So in the recent budget for 2023-24, lot of emphasis has been agri infrastructure, agri accelerator and fund, and we have to move away from chemical fertilizer. And the point to be noted, in India is conscious of the fact that too much chemical fertilizer is not good. It is going to harm our agriculture and health of the people, not only the land but of the human beings and the animals alike.
Right. So, fair enough. You are saying that there is a lot of merit in the argument of using nutritious food as well as cultivate sustainable crops. But how do you incentivize the farmers to do that? Because there was a mention of maybe a method of giving carbon credits to incentivize particularly the smallholder farmers to grow sustainable crops.
Yes, so this has to be worked out, how to incentivize the farmer on reduction in the GHG emissions, because the chemical fertilizer and production of, for example, paddy, which gives more GHG emission. Now, if we move away from, because the paddy, for instance, we are overproducing. That means the consumption of water. This is a water guzzling crop. Therefore, if we are exporting our rice, that means we are, along with the rice, we are exporting virtual water also. So this is not a very smart agriculture in my opinion. So we have to move and diversify from paddy production to millets and the less water guzzling crop. And this will have a win-win situation in the sense farmers' profitability will increase, the consumption of water will reduce, and the productivity will also increase. So indirectly the farmer get benefited because the cost of production is low, and some scheme can be formulated so that farmer also get incentivized for carbon footprint and GHG less emission. And then there are technology from waste to wealth. Meaning thereby they don't have to burn the stubble and all those things which creates pollution, and instead of wasting and burning, it can be created to value addition in the sense that there are many things which can be produced out of those stubble, for example furniture and many other things. So from waste to wealth, there is an emphasis in the recent budget also on creating the wealth out of the waste. So it will again be a very advantageous for farmer. So it is self-incentivizing.
Right,
I understand. On one hand, farmer don't have to the table of burning it. On the other, this waste can be productively utilized, and in the process, the theory of economics,
the circular economy model is what you are referring to. Fair enough.
Even if there is no explicit incentive to the farmer for giving.
Okay, but there was also a mention, if I may say here, of using the climate fund partly to help these small and marginal farmers grow sustainable crops, and how carbon credits can be given to farmers as well. It remains to be seen what the fine print would be. We'll know in the forthcoming meetings. Thank you so much, Dr. Ashok, for joining us with your views on India at G20.
Thank you very much.
The first Digital Economy Working Group meeting concluded in Lucknow today. Its Chair and Union Secretary of Electronics and Information Technology, Alkesh Kumar Sharma, said after the meeting that the implementation of digital public infrastructure in India over the last 7 years was appreciated by G20 delegates as incredible for digital governance and transformation. Listen in.
हमारा डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है, आधार पे, यूपीआई पे, कोविन पे, डिजी लॉकर पे, सभी ने उसको बहुत अच्छे से अप्रिशिएट किया और बहुत से देशों का ये मानना था कि जो इंडिया ने किया है ये एक बहुत ही अद्भुत, मतलब ये उन्होंने कहा इनक्रेडिबल लेवल का अचीवमेंट पिछले 7 साल में देश में हुआ है डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी में, डिजिटल गवर्नेंस में और डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन में.
He added that there was discussion in the meeting on the best practices related to cyber security so that the challenges faced by citizens in the cyberspace can be addressed.
साइबर सिक्योरिटी से जो सिटीजन को, कॉमन नागरिक और हमारे बिजनेस को जो साइबर सिक्योरिटी के इश्यूज आते हैं उनके ऊपर हम लोग अपनी चीजों को एक्सचेंज करें, बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस का आदान प्रदान हो, इंफॉर्मेशन का आदान प्रदान हो, तो वो हमारा एजेंडा था, उस पर चर्चा हुई है. तो उसको आगे ले जाने का काम आगे के जो 3 मीटिंग अभी और होनी है उसमें आगे उसको ले जाया जाएगा.
On the agenda of digital skilling, he said that India has been imparting digital skills to its citizens across various levels, and at the foundational level, 6 crore Indians were made digitally literate and given certificates for the same. And on a higher level, deep tech skills are being imparted for greater employability. The effort, he said, is to expand cooperation in the domain of digital skilling under G20.
डिजिटल में यही आया कि भाई स्किलिंग भी अलग अलग लेवल की होती है, कुछ लेवल में फाउंडेशनल स्किल होनी चाहिए. हमने अपने देश में देखिए अलग अलग लेवल के स्किल प्रोग्राम बनाए. हमने 6 करोड़ लोगों को, जो ऐसे लोग थे फैमिलीज जिसमें कोई डिजिटली लिटरेट नहीं था, तो हमारे सीएससी के माध्यम से हम उनको डिजिटल शिक्षा कहते हैं और उसको इतनी शिक्षा देते हैं कि वो एक सर्टिफिकेट, उसका एग्जाम होता है और उसको इतनी शिक्षा दी जाती है कि वो अपने मोबाइल से, फीचर फोन हो या जो भी हो, उस अपने मोबाइल से वो जो उनकी स्कीम है उसको किसान सम्मान का पैसा मिला कि नहीं, उसको डीबीटी में जो मिलना है वो मिला कि नहीं, उसको कोई बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट डाउनलोड करना है तो वो कर सकता है कि नहीं, अपना बिजली पानी का बिल दे सकता है कि नहीं, इतना उसको साक्षर हम लोग ने बनाया. तो वो फाउंडेशन स्किल हो जाती है. फिर ऊपर के लेवल की स्किल होती है जिसमें आप लोग डीप टेक स्किल जिसको बोलते हैं कि भाई ऐसी स्किल दी जाए कि वो एम्प्लॉयबल हों, कंपनियों में जाएं, देश में जाएं, विदेश में जाएं. और फिर डीप टेक स्किल्स होती है जैसे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है, ब्लॉकचेन का इन्होंने बताया, उनके ऊपर ट्रेनिंग का हम लोगों ने भी यहाँ पे डीप टेक पे काफी प्रोग्राम चालू किए हैं. कोई भी छूटे नहीं, ये एक बहुत बड़ा हम लोगों का मिशन है, हमारे देश में भी है और बाकी देशों का भी यही मिशन है कि भाई डिजिटली कनेक्ट रहे.
And we now leave you with Holi and Diwali festivities in Lucknow that charmed G20 delegates who attended the first meeting of the G20 Digital Economy Working Group in Lucknow. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.
The changing world of news. Headlines that you wake up to. News that shapes your day. Stories that matter to you. The latest and most accurate updates. A fresh start to a new day. The Breakfast News, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. on DD India.
Payment fail. लेकिन पैसे तो कट गए, गई मेरी मेहनत की कमाई।
हो जाएगी भरपाई, चिंता मत कर मेरे भाई। अगर डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन फेल हो जाए, अगर अकाउंट से पैसे कट जाएं, तो बैंक समय से पैसे लौटा देगा, वरना कॉम्पनसेशन का है प्रावधान। नहीं तो आरबीआई के ओम्बुड्समैन को शिकायत करें आप।
या बिल,
मेरी फीस। आरबीआई कहता है,
जानकार बनिए, सतर्क रहिए।
Get in-depth analysis of the important news of the day. Spotlight on day's newsmakers. Expert comments to dissect the news. Get the finer points of the matter. Watch Dateline 5 p.m. on weekdays on DD India.
दीदी, नौकरी लग गई।
अरे वाह, बधाई हो। तो अब तो ढेर सारी शॉपिंग।
हाँ दी, नया मोबाइल।
अरे रुको शहजादे, सैलरी से पहले खर्चे।
इंस्टेंट लोन भी तो मिलता है।
पहले बजट बनाना सीखो, फिर खर्च करो।
पर दी,
देखो, कमाई का एक हिस्सा हमेशा बचाना चाहिए, लेकिन पार्टी देने से नहीं बचोगे तुम।
हाँ दी, पार्टी मेरी, बजट तुम्हारा।
अच्छा।
आरबीआई कहता है,
सही वित्तीय बर्ताव करे आपका बचाव।
Let's talk a little bit about democracy. What is your view on a vibrant democracy and what yet needs to happen to make it even more vibrant?
Yes, we are proud of our democracy, and this is the reason why, despite everything, all huddles, all odds, all differences, different kinds of religions, castes, creeds, ultimately we are one. Our goal is one, and that goal is to see that India emerges as a very strong nation in the world. I think all of us are thinking on those lines. But I must say, despite everything, all differences, we are thinking in those terms, and that's the beauty of democracy here.
Namaskar, and thank you very much for joining us here on DD India on this special broadcast. Well, the crisis in Pakistan is requiring some tough decisions. The government has to raise its revenues through taxation and other means, also kickstart the economy so that it doesn't fall into a vicious cycle, and restart growth for the economy to repay mounting debt to various sources, including $30 billion to the PRC. Now, by depending so much on debt, any country loses its self-reliance and over time is controlled by its creditors. How far away from that reality is Pakistan? We'll look at this subject in some measure of detail. The graphics that will appear on the screen during this discussion tell us the extent of the crisis. But let me introduce you to our guests on the program. Mr. Sumit Peer is an expert on geopolitics, a widely traveled individual and well-versed in the subjects of Pakistan as well. And Dr. Suranjali Tandon is from the National Institute of Public Finance and Policy. She is an economist. Thank you very much, both of you, for being with us. Now let me start with you, Mr. Peer. Imran Khan, he launched this bailout package in 2019, and it was a $6 billion bailout plan. And the current government wants $1.1 billion more to avoid